Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our third session on our Repetitive Strain Injury Awareness Day 2001 that we've divided down into 4 weekly sessions. And as I said, this marks our third week that we have brought this forward to you. And this week is entitled Musculoskeletal Disorders. Today, we're actually joined by 33 distinct countries, as shown in red on the map on your screen, from around the world. So thank you very much for everyone for being with us today. Now, our first presentation of the morning is going to be Dwayne Fuchs and Melissa Statham, who are going to be talking about the next stage of our office ergonomic resource guide that we have decided to develop. So Melissa, I will turn it over to you.
Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me now. Melissa Statham from the Windsor OCal Clinic. I'm the ergonomist there. And today, like Trevor mentioned, we're going to be presenting our next section of the 4 modules for the Office Ergonomic Reference Guide. Within these 4 modules, there is external equipment and accessories, a technology module that addresses laptop use, mobile telephones, and tablets. We look at sit-stand workstations, and then remote mobile workstation setup. Again, we're just going to kind of give you a taste of what's in each of these sections. We're not going to dive into each component within it because that hopefully will be live coming soon. So when we're talking about external equipment and accessories, we're looking at input devices. So this is your keyboard, your mouse, footrest, keyboard trays, document holders, and telephones. So the way that we have this designed is we address each kind of style of keyboard and we look at the merits and the limitations of each. So these 3 are just examples. There's some more keyboards that we have on the website. But for example, we have the straight keyboard. So this is the you'll see in most offices. The merits for it is it's easily usable for those who require visual input of the keys. One of the limitations, though, is because it has that numeric pad on the right-hand side of the keyboard. Most people are right-handed, and so therefore they mouse with their right hand. So it just increases that lateral reach to the mouse. Second, there is a contour keyboard. So these are, people will sometimes call these ones ergonomic keyboards. One of the merits for it is it allows for more neutral wrist and hand postures, just how the keys are designed on the keyboard itself. It does have palm supports on it as well, so allow you to take some breaks in between typing. Some of the limitations is it's difficult to utilize if you're not a proficient typer. So if you're someone that has your hands that kind of drift all over the keys or you need to look at the keyboard, this probably is not the keyboard for you. It also might require additional desk space or depth on your workstation because it tends to be slightly larger. And then there's some designs of these types of keyboards which can result in more awkward postures. So you need to really, maybe use a few before you decide on this type of keyboard. The third example is a compact keyboard. This keyboard is similar to a layout of a laptop. So your numbers are at the top. There's no separate numerical pad. And what it does is it allows for closer placement of your mouse. So if you're a right-handed user, that mouse can get right close to the alpha keys. And so it allows for more neutral posturing. A limitation, though, is, again, there's no numeric pad. So it depends on what type of job you do and the tasks that you do. If you're someone in finance, you probably would not want this keyboard because you use that number pad all the time. Second is document support. So this is another section within external equipment and accessories that we're going to kind of show you. So there's different styles of document supports. Again, I'm finding a lot right now doing virtual assessments. A lot of people have actually truly have gone paperless because they have no means of getting all the paper that they had before. So I'm finding more people are having things on a split screen or monitors, but they really aren't using paper as much anymore. However, if you do need to reference documents, there's a few different styles of document support. One is the inline document holder, and that's one that's positioned between your monitor and your keyboard. Now, the good thing about it is it can support heavier documents and allow for writing on it. But some of the limitations is it's going to take additional depth of your workstation. So you need to make sure that you have adequate space for it, and it can require some neck flexion Typically, they're angle adjustable, so it really depends. Another one is the vertical freestanding document holder. Now this one is easily adjustable in height. Typically, you're only going to look at documents that are in that portrait orientation. Some of the limitations, though, it's not going to be a platform where you're able to write on it. It's going to require some various degrees of neck rotation depending on where you set it up. So you'll have to have it slightly off to the side. And so it really is going to depend sometimes on your desk space, your lateral desk space that's available to you. Now, the third one we show here is the one that's directly attached to your monitor. And the great thing about this one is it's going to be at the same height. So you're not going to have a lot of flexion, but you can have neck rotation. And especially when people are starting to use larger monitors, the degree of this is really going to be dependent on the size of your monitor. But it's ideal for referencing some portrait type of documents. But again, if you require larger, heavier documents, obviously you can't use this. And if you require the means to be able to write on the document, you're not going to be able to use this either. I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne. Oh, no, sorry, this is me still. Sorry, technology. So laptops, mobile telephones, and tablets. So we're going to look right now just quickly at laptops. So laptops were not designed for long duration use. And unfortunately, living in this virtual kind of environment, and when people were sent home to work, a lot of people had their laptops with them. And what we noticed, you have that first setup there that says there's no adjustability, wrong angles. That's what we were seeing. Laptops weren't designed for long duration use. And if you're going to be using them for long durations, there's some things that you need to have. You need to either have an external monitor, which is really ideal because the laptop screen is a little bit smaller. But if you don't have that, that's okay. What you need to do is you need to get your laptop up. So having a laptop riser to be able to get it into your line of sight so that you have neutral neck postures. You want to make sure you have external input devices. So this means you're not using the keyboard on the laptop or the mouse. Because again, if you've raised these up to have your screen and your line of sight, you don't want to be reaching up then to use this equipment on the actual laptop. And you want to make sure that, and of all of this, that you can maintain a neutral seated posture. So when you see the second diagram here, this is someone that has their keyboard and their mouse on the same surface as their laptop, but they need to add a footrest in order to maintain those neutral seated postures. The far diagram on the right is someone that has a keyboard tray available to them, so then they no longer will need to have the keyboard and mouse on the actual work surface. They have it on that tray, and then they can keep their feet on the floor. What you just really need to make sure is that you have neutral postures while you're seated. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne.
Thank you, Melissa. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Friday and looking forward to the weekend. Yes, I am Dwayne. I'm the ergonomist in the Thunder Bay Clinic. I'm just going to briefly speak to you about a couple of more things that we have in our reference guide currently. So sit-stand workstations. We've actually added a section to the new guide specifically on sit-stand workstations. We previously didn't have it in there, obviously. They're a lot newer in terms of their use and individuals wanting to utilize them now. So basically, on the the left illustration shows you a general desk mount sit stand type of station where, you know, the merits are it can be utilized with your existing workstation. You don't have to purchase a new desk or anything like that for these types of things. They're easy to adjust, easy to install. And they allow, for most users, they allow optimal neutral postures. And there's multiple different types of versions available out there that can be purchased dependent upon your workstation configuration and what it is that you're doing. Their limitations are basically it's limited by the space on the desk, and whether there's enough room to put it there. There's also limitations in terms of the materials you can utilize. A lot of them come standard without additional platforms. Those platforms need to kind of be requested, or there's additional ones that you can purchase that do have platforms. They also can be challenging to utilize multiple monitors. Oftentimes, the standard desk mount sit-stand stations do not allow independent adjustment of the monitors. So both monitors are kind of solid right there directly in front of you. The illustration to the right basically shows a height adjustable desk, an entire surface that's height adjustable. This particular one speaks to ones that are electronically adjustable. So the obvious merit is that the whole entire station moves up and down. It allows you to maintain and get to those neutral postures. The adjustability is quick, just push of a button. And because it's moving your entire work surface up and down, it does afford for the space, the added space on the desk. So you have the ability to utilize everything, obviously, upon your desk. And a lot of them also have settings so that you can actually set it so that, it's at the correct height for you while you're sitting and the correct height for you while you're standing. You just push that button and it goes to the exact positioning. Basically, the limitations are the available desk space and the accessibility to a power outlet, because obviously if they're electronically movable, you would definitely have to have a power outlet available. Okay, another section that we've now added to our reference guide that wasn't in previous versions of the reference guide is speaking about remote or mobile workstation setup. This is obviously really, really pertinent at this time with the stay home and work from home due to the pandemic. So we've added this component in as well, because people are likely going to be working utilizing mobile workstations a lot more, and remote workstations a lot more than what they had in the past previous to the pandemic. So this is just showing a couple of illustrations where, if you don't have the correct equipment available, obviously, let me backtrack. Obviously, having the correct equipment is preferred, especially if you're working from home or you're working from a location that is semi-stable, that you're not constantly moving around. But if you are and you don't have a correct fully adjustable chair, the illustration on the left kind of shows a few modifications that you can make. So if the chair is too low, you can place cushions, pillows, towels, those types of things on the seat pan in order to bring you up a little higher so that you can get to the work surface. Usually doing so with the illustration on the right, when you do need to then raise yourself up, you're often required to then utilize a footrest or some sort of a modified footrest in order to then bring your lower body into the correct neutral postures and the correct joint angles. The illustration to the right also shows that if the seat pan is potentially too large for the individual, then you can place soft type materials behind you, in between you and the seat back, so that it moves you forward as well. And both of these examples are basically illustrations and photos of the type of chair most people would find in their kitchen at their kitchen table. So what's to come? We've now spoken 3 consecutive weeks, giving you little bits of information on the primary sections of the guidebook. sections 1 through 8. We do have one more section of the guidebook. It's basically an additional consideration section. We talk about lighting and noise and alternate sitting devices, those types of things, computer hotkeys as well. We'll briefly discuss a little bit about what's in that section next week. And then we'll also run you through how, give you an example of what the guidebook is going to look like. As mentioned in our very first webinar, I understand that some people may not have been there, but we are now going to have a web-based live version so that people can navigate through and get the information there, as well as a printable version, a PDF version that you can print off and utilize if you require the paper version. So next week, we will go through some of that information. We are planning to try to have it launched live on our website sometime in early March. We don't have an exact date with that yet. That's going to be based on technological issues of getting it all done and stuff, but we'll go through and explain some of that information for you guys next week.